In this video, I want to talk to you about how to retire yourself on your way to retirement. So that's not just some fancy, nice sounding clickbaity headline. I want to show you how to do that in this video, or at least explain it to you. So I kind of got this idea from this book called From the Trash Man to the Cash Man by Myron Golden. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend you check it out. It's like less than 100 pages. It's a very easy, fast read, so highly recommend you check it out. And what he talks about in this book is basically the same thing of how to kind of retire yourself on your way to retirement, because if you can generate passive streams of income that are equivalent to what your goal would be once you hit retirement, and I'll talk about that in a minute, then you're basically already retired. The problem is that most people, they're trading their time for money, for an active paycheck, and none of that is really building up passive residual income. But if you put your effort towards building these passive streams of income, then you can retire a lot sooner than you might think. And that's not saying that you'll never have to work again or whatever, but you'll have enough to cover most of your main expenses and overhead, and then you can earn more money with the extra time that you now have. Because again, if you cancel out all of your expenses with some passive streams of income, and we're not talking about having to be a millionaire or anything like that, then you can use the majority of your active time now building additional passive streams of income. So what that kind of looks like, and what Myron, the example he gives in the book, is 6%, which is a very modest annual return for having a lump sum of money. Let's just say $1 million. 6% of that comes out to $60,000 per year, and if you divide that by 12 months in a year, you get about $5,000 a month. So that is an example of what a lot of people shoot for in retirement. Some people don't even have that much at the end of retirement, and that's a decent amount that you can expect for it to kick off each year without taking away from the principal each year, and that'll ideally support you for the next couple decades or whatever. But if you could create a passive stream or passive streams of income that spit off $5,000 a month or more in passive income, then you've basically done the same thing as rolling up this big old snowball of $1 million. But so you've achieved that in like way less time, because it's not, it doesn't take forever and ever, if you're doing the right things, to create a passive stream of income of $5,000. But that's really the goal of retirement. If you've never sat down and thought about that, nobody really explains this to you, but this is kind of what it looks like. So even though nobody really explains this to you, this is what you're working towards at a normal, regular traditional job. Ideally they have some sort of like plan where you can put back money and they'll match whatever you save or whatever, but that's all you're working towards. They've slowed you down and given you like the slowest path to retirement here, which is, they say it takes 20, 30, 40 years, which is a long time. If you live that long, good for you, and you don't have to make that much money. You just save a little bit each month, and over time compound interest will work in your favor and stuff. But again, the only downside of this is by the time you get to this age, you're old. So if you hadn't had much fun in this period of time, these couple decades, then it's like, yeah, maybe at the end of retirement you have just enough to get by, just enough to pay your bills and expenses and live comfortable or whatever. Maybe even have enough saved up for you can have a lot of fun. Except again, there's only one problem. You're old now. You're probably 60, 70, maybe even 80 years old. So even though you may have the funds, you may have the resources to do all this cool stuff, you may not be physically able to. So what if you could instead retire yourself kind of on your way to retirement and not working maybe at all over here? What if you could retire yourself much sooner? Basically just cancel out the need for a job. And there's lots of ways that you can go about doing that, and just building, putting money towards investments that kick off passive returns that could in the short term cancel out whatever it is you're getting paid at a job. But I just want to plant that thought in your head, because that's what I've been doing the last couple of years. So, when I read this book a year or two ago, I was like, oh, cool, like I'm already there. So this goal of mine that was just this far off goal of having saved up millions of dollars, I've already been living this same lifestyle. It's the equivalent of having $1 million saved, because I have more than this, $5,000 coming in each month, and have been for the last 5+ years. So I basically have the same type of lifestyle as somebody that's saved up, saved for 20-30 years and has $1 million. So how I was able to do that, if you're interested in learning more, is through SEO and affiliate marketing. And I've been teaching this to other people for the last 5+ years. It took me a long time to gather all these pieces and put the puzzle together. But once I did, and once everything clicked for me, I've been basically living this passive income, retire yourself before retire yourself on your way to retirement kind of lifestyle for the last 5 or so years. And it didn't take very long to build that up. It took me a long time of just trial and error. Most of the time spent learning this stuff was just trial and error and failure and stuff. But once everything clicked for me, it only took me about 90 days or so to take me from my last job to building up a passive stream of income of over 5 figures a month. And that hasn't slowed down in the last 5 years. So if you're interested in learning more about that system that I've been using, and where the majority of my income comes from, and what other people are doing, there's a whole bunch of other success stories we've had using the same system. So it's not just something that works for me. If you're interested in learning more about that, and so you can do that for yourself. And whether you want to just build up some tiny little passive income streams for a couple $100 or a couple $1,000 a month, or you don't want to be at a job anymore and you just want to have all your time to yourself, and you want to do this full time, or just build a passive stream of income big enough to where you don't ever have to work again, or it takes very, very, very little maintenance to maintain the streams of income that you built up. If that's something that sounds interesting to you, then go over to SEOaffiliatedomination.com/apply to learn more. But hopefully that kind of planted a new thought in your brain about something that you may not have even been aware of that was possible. But there's lots of people out there doing this. There's just not that many people that know about how to do it the specific way, because this is definitely the slow way to get to retirement. Nobody ever lays this out for you. Nobody ever explains what you're really working towards. That's why people stay trapped at a job for 10, 20, 30 years. They don't even know where they're going. And so if you know kind of what the goal is, that you're working towards building up a big old snowball, then if you can just kind of leapfrog your way over here and create this same effect, but it only took you 2, maybe 3 years or less, then you could spend all this time enjoying your life and having fun. Or if you like building passive streams of income, again, you can build lots more of them, since you'll have all your time now. But I just want to introduce you to that idea, if no one's ever brought that up to you or explained that to you, and kind of connect that to a process that allows you to create this sort of lifestyle for yourself. So you're interested in learning more about that, again, go to SEOaffiliatedomination.com/apply. And thanks for checking out this video. I'll see you in the next